gosu.com.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Jeff Plays Some Dota 2, presented by gosu.com. I am, of course, Jeff, the site's editor-in-chief, and you'll notice that we've rebranded the show a little bit. I'm still going to be providing some educational commentary, but for the most part, I'm going to be a little more casual, have a little more fun. So without further ado, let's jump into today's replay. Today I'm going to be casting a game I played that was a random draft game. Random draft is actually pretty rare to get if you queue for multiple different types of game. And random draft can be very, very tricky if you are the first pick. In this game, I was the first pick, unfortunately. And the reason it's so tricky is that you get a pool of 20 or so heroes, and then you have 20 seconds to make up your mind about which one they are, and no time in advance to look at what that pool is. So I went with Sven, because whenever I get first pick in a random draft situation, I like to pick someone who's a stunner, and someone who's got some good overall utility, a hero that's not very situational. If you have time to see what other heroes are available in the pool, it can be good to kind of make sure you're picking someone who isn't going to get countered hard by some of the other options there. For example, if you see Bounty Hunter and you want to pick Rikimaru, you should not do that. You know, lots of invis heroes can suffer greatly at the hands of an enemy Bounty Hunter. You also want to watch out for lots of silences, that sort of thing, if you're thinking of going a casting heavy hero. You also want to take a look at the types of heroes that are involved in the draft. For instance, if there's only one or two support options and pretty much everything else is a carry, you probably want to grab one of those support options so your team will have that going forward. You also want to think about your team fight. So ultimately, Sven seemed like a pretty good choice, a good overall pick in this pool. The rest of our team ended up pretty balanced. You know, we've got an Enchantress and Jakiro, who can both be support. We've got myself and Kunkka, who can be carries. We've got Bat, who can be a ganker. You know, it's a very strong team overall. The people we're up against, they've got a Dragon Knight, a Zeus, a Shadow Shaman, a Puck, and a Slardar, which is also a very powerful team. I'm going to switch on over to my perspective here, and that's how we're going to watch this game. So, initially I was figuring Bat would go middle, because that's very typical of Bat, and it turns out I think he ends up not going middle at all, and we discussed this in the chat a little bit, and things get a little hairy. Ultimately, I'm pretty sure I end up in the mid this game, which is very unorthodox to have a Sven in mid in a pub game. I have seen it done by people who are much better Dota players than I am, and when they go mid Sven, they tend to get lots and lots of mana regen, farm things like Blink, and just become like a ridiculous ganking machine. I am not confident enough to do that. I figure you can only get away with that if you are playing with people you know and can rely on. In this situation, it's a total pub game, so I don't know for sure kind of what the quality of play I can expect out of my allies, the quality of play I can expect out of my enemies. So I decide to go for a relatively traditional Sven build. So it looks like we're going to end up with Enchantress in the jungle, or bot laning. We end up with Kunkka bot with the Enchantress, and then top is going to be Bat Rider and Jakiro. Yeah, very strange layout, but that's what happens sometimes in these pub games, and we'll see how it ends up playing out. I'm going to be up against a Zeus mid, and this is, like, I didn't really know how to react to this situation. I was like, okay, I assume he's going to beat me because Zeus is a good mid lane pick overall. On the other hand, you know, Sven's a powerful hero. He's not to be underestimated, and it's very rare that you've got a Sven in like this solo situation where you can hope to get better. So at this point, I'm basically just trying to outlast hit him, mess up a little bit there, but you know, Sven's attack animation is pretty nifty, and he does a pretty decent amount of damage off the bat. So last hitting before Zeus's nukes get out of control, I found it to be easier than expected. You know, Zeus obviously has the range advantage, and very soon he'll have a nuking advantage. But You know, he's already starting with the chain lightning. He's using that because not only does it get him last hits really well, but it puts me in situations, or it does damage to me. It's a harassment tool as well. So yeah, microing around, trying my best to last hit. Tricky with the tower here, and with a looming Zeus. Again, hit me with that chain lightning. Good lord. I'm going to stack stun first because I figure if I get that higher level pretty quickly, I can probably do some damage early on. But I'm fully expecting the early game to be rough going for me. I mean, Zeus hasn't attacked me once. He's just been using the chain lightning, and I'm down to half health, so I'm going to go ahead and start tangoing here. You know, let's take a look at some stats here. It looks like our Enchantress, who is in fact jungling, is getting the best amount of last hits. Again, Zeus is beating me. I stunned him to cancel that clarity there. I think I clicked on him earlier and noticed that he did not have much in the way of mana regen, so I figured, he hadn't farmed a bottle yet at that point. I figured if I cancel his clarity, his ability to nuke me constantly is going to be reduced. Despite the fact that obviously I don't have much mana myself. So canceling the second clarity, trying to keep it down. I'm going to go ahead. Sadly, I clarity here, but oh, the chain just barely gets me and cancels it. So I'm very low on mana. At this point, though, Zeus has no mana regen until he gets a bottle or unless he gets a rune. At this point, it looks like Zeus is going top. I believe I end up calling for this. Sadly, you know, Zeus gets the invis, and I think just our top lane thought they were safe by the tower, but they really weren't. So, while Zeus is gone here, I'm going to take advantage of that fact and try to get a little more farm in. I'm going to start buying a bit. Yep. Getting another last hit, getting a deny. The denies in this case, obviously, since Zeus isn't around, I'm not denying any experience or gold to him. I'm just trying to control the lane. I'm trying to keep our lane from pushing fast. If I can keep the lane kind of right where it is, which is going to be very difficult to do because we have 2 range creeps, it's the most advantageous for me because I can use the ramp to kind of shelter myself. Now, I go for the magic wand first here because getting that magic wand is going to be a very good counter to Zeus's constant spamming of the chain lightning ability. Anytime you're up against a hero who uses spells that do a little damage frequently, it's a really great idea to get a magic stick or a magic wand early because you build up charges very, very rapidly, and you'll see kind of if he continues to harass me what will happen here. Now, unfortunately, lane's pushed in his direction. There's not much I can do. I'm kind of afraid to go near him, so I'm going to go check the rune at this point, which is a regen, which makes me very, very happy. Because, you know, just free full regeneration is a great thing. I don't have to use up any of my tangos or my clarities or anything like that. So Zeus went to check the bottom for the rune, and fortunately the rune was top for me. You know, luck of the draw, I guess. Now again, he uses that chain lightning. It doesn't do much damage to me, but it gives me a charge. So, you know, fortunately, it doesn't completely cancel out, but it almost does. Let's see how much. Yeah, you restore 15 HP and 15 mana per charge. So, you know, I think his chain lightning does a little bit more than that, but it's still good to have. It's definitely going to make it so in a future situation I can survive a lot more easily. So yeah, checking the last hits, you know, he's still beating me, but I'm out denying him at least. I'd say, you know, I'm doing the best I can given the circumstances, I think. You know, 11-5 isn't great CS. I could probably, you know, there are a few last hits I missed, I will admit readily, but at least I'm hanging in there against, you know, a hero who frankly has my number. So doing the lane dance a little bit more. Now in terms of builds, Sven is really, really, really strong if you get a Black King Bar, a Mask of Madness, and a Daedalus. If you're able to farm those 3 items versus just about any team, you're going to just wreck in team fights. Like favorable team fights where you initiate well and you have good positioning are going to be absolutely devastating. Here, I think I can get a kill on Zeus. but it's not quite enough. I pop kind of everything I've got. Sadly, he's just a little bit faster than me. Even so, though, I'm happy that I scared him away, and I'm able to get some last hits here. Another deny. Again, you know, my CS is up to 16-7. His is 18-1. I'm feeling pretty good about that. Now, the bad news for us is that their dragon is farming reasonably well. Well, wow, now I'm up to 19-7. Feel pretty great about that. Their dragon farming well is bad news for us. He's going to be the majority of their late game. Slardar can also play into the late game, but he is farming not nearly as well as dragon thus far. It's still very early in the game. We're just about to hit 7 minutes, so I'm not that concerned. But at this point, you know, I'm just hanging out in the lane, trying to get a lot of that solo experience. I see that top has dove those towers hard. I'm going to try to meet up with them to save them. Now, this ends up being a horrible mistake, if I remember correctly. You know, I almost back off of it because I figure they're safe, but then I see Zeus running in, going for that kill. He gets that kill, and suddenly I'm by myself with 3 heroes, and I'm like, oh god, this is terrible. Dragon Knight gets away. Nobody dies here except me. It was just a stupid maneuver. If you see your teammates doing something silly like that, sometimes it's best to just not go in. In that case, I definitely made a mistake by going in. You know, I was hoping again to save the Bat Rider, but I wasn't there in time, and then I was already there, and it just fell apart for all of us. Nothing good came of it. So I'm going to respawn here. I like to go power treads with Sven a lot. The reason I like to go power treads are, in addition to just the basic move speed and attack speed utility that come with power treads, if you tread switch at opportune times, it can be very, very helpful for getting enough mana to stun, getting enough mana to use your war cry. You know, that can be very handy because Sven is a low mana hero by nature. And the stun costs a lot of mana. So, you know, if you want to have enough mana to use all of your abilities at once, then switching to int in mid-fight can be very, very helpful. It's an extra... I don't know exactly how much extra mana it is off the top of my head. Let's see. It is points gain... Each point increases mana by 13. And let's see, power treads. I think power treads give you 8 of a stat, so 8 times 13 is 104. So it'll give you an extra 104 mana to switch to the mana treads. So at this point, our bottom is being ganked, and I am trying to help out. I go in, I hit Zeus with a stun. I realize I'm not going to catch Zeus because I know from earlier that he's faster than me, so I'm just hitting anyone I can at this point. And we are barely going to get Slardar. And we're going to get Pup. And Zeus, I believe, died to the tower. So, not a bad situation overall. We did lose Kunkka and Enchantress, but my presence down there turned it into 3 for 2 instead of, you know, 2 for 0. So, I'm happy about that. I think I got one of those kills, and then the other 2 were just assists. So, I'm going to farm a little bit until my teammates get back here. One thing I like is that we have good vision around the bottom of the map. I think that those sentry wards that are placed were dewarding sentry wards, but I have no idea why the one down yonder in the map was placed. It doesn't make much sense to me, but having a ward here is always helpful for rune vision. You know, by process of elimination, you can know where the rune is or isn't. Orange is going to throw down another ward up here. Makes me very, very happy. And at this point, I'm just heading back to mid lane to do a little more laning. So I see Zeus there. I know he's bottled to double damage, so I'm a little apprehensive about engaging him. And he brings the thunder. So yeah, another last hit, another deny. So at this point, Dragon is out farming me a bit. I'm not pleased about that, but it is what it is. I mean, he's got a support kind of protecting him up top. He's in his own safe lane, I believe. Yeah. And So there's not much to be done. Like if you're solo mid melee against a Zeus, you're not going to be able to outfarm a top or a safe lane carry with a support backup unless the heroes on your team that are up against him absolutely devastate him. So I've got my treads at this point. I've got my magic wand. And once you're at that point in the game, particularly given that I'm level 9, let's take a look at some hero levels. I'm the highest level in the game right now. That's on account of me being solo mid. At this point, you know, I'm feeling pretty comfortable, pretty confident. I still want to farm as much as I can because, again, my goal this game is to get the BKB, the Mask of Madness, and the Daedalus. But at this point in the game, you know, you can start more confidently ganking, and I probably should have done that. Instead, what I've mostly been doing is, you know, almost counter ganking, watching for them, their dives, their ganks. That's what I was kind of doing there. As they were chasing Kunkka away, I was going to teleport and intercept if they decided to dive. Since they didn't, you know, I'm going to have to chase them down, see what I can do. Fortunately, this Puck is a plucky Puck who thinks he's going to get himself a creep kill. He did not get out in time. Nice try, Puck. But stunned, hurt, bad. Of course, Zeus decides to level a bunch of damage on me, but it don't matter because Captain Fish is here to rescue me with his Enchantress healing wisps. It is always nice to have a healer on your team who's willing to generously donate some mana so you can get some HP back. So at this point, you know, it's 6 to 9. They've been more aggressive, certainly. They can afford to be that way just on account of the fact that there's a Zeus in mid lane. A Zeus mid lane is one of the most powerful mid gankers you can possibly imagine. Once he gets his ult and he levels up his W spell significantly, he can just roam about the map, TP in and wreck people. He can basically instantly do over 500 damage to any hero. So if he teleports into a situation where people are just normally laning and suddenly they lose 500 health, one more disable and they're pretty much dead at this phase of the game. So I'm going to do some more farming because that's what you do when you're Sven. It's just a good idea. And I'm going for drums here. The reason I'm going for the drums before the Black King bar or the Mask of Madness is that I want a little bit of extra move speed because I've noticed many situations where I feel like I've almost gotten kills and then lost them, particularly against this Zeus, who seems to just be slightly faster than me. I wonder if I can actually see his... let's just click on Zeus' perspective real quick here. Zeus' move speed is 355 and mine's 350. So yeah, Zeus is ever so slightly faster than me and he's been able to evade me a couple of times. So I figure I'm farming pretty well. You know, let's take a look at the last hits. Wow, I've actually not been that great lately. But I figure I can afford to try to get a nice utility item like the drums before I... Why are you boating, Kunkka? What's the plan there? Good lord. I can figure I can try to get a nice utility item before I go ahead and get the big hitters. I also like the fact that you get extra mana with the drums. Extra mana is really good on a hero like Sven because you don't have much, just frankly. Alright, so in this situation I probably should have been there to help top. I'm sort of debating whether I can go in and kind of clean up it all here. With the wards down, I'm kind of too afraid to. I do notice that like Shadow Shaman is sitting there and I could have just stunned him once and he would have died, but I was a little too scared. Here I do something a little foolish. I'm kind of testing the waters. I just want to see how many of them are there. I know I had good charges on my magic stick, so I take advantage of those and get the F away after taking way too much damage. The wards are also worth a ton of money. If you ever are in a position where you can safely kill Rasta's wards, I think there's something like 32 to 36 gold each, and he throws down like 10 of them. So if you're in a position to safely farm them, it's basically better than killing a hero in most cases, in terms of just gold input. So at this point, let's take a look at some graphs. The difference in EXP earned, Sadly, they're beating us by over 3,000, which is not a good position to be in. Let's take a look at the gold. They're beating us by about 4,000. Also not good. So we're going to go for a gank on Dragon here. I initiate with the stun. Kunkka follows up with the splash. And I think... Oh, he armlets, which is very smart. But I think we're going to finish him off here. Boom, dead. Now, Rust has got me clung. We got a boat coming in, though, which makes me very, very happy. And Zeus is trying to kill me desperately, but I've got everything turned on, and I hit him with a stun at the last second, but Slardar comes in and finishes me off. Oh, what a bummer. On the plus side, 3 of them are dead, and I'm the only one who died. So I do feel good about that. Oh, they might even lose a few more. Bat's got a hold of Puck, and he's dragging him through the macro pyre, which is going to do devastating amounts of damage to any hero. And an Ernst Slardar can do nothing but run away. Flee with his tail between his legs. Although he doesn't have legs, he just has a tail. So, yeah. Flee with his tail. Anyway, so let's see if that turned the tide on our graphs a little bit. Look at that big, big turn that came there from killing 4 heroes to me. You know, our difference in gold earn, you know, didn't turn around that much, but it definitely spiked upward, which makes me very, very happy. So, even though I died there, I feel like the entire dive and the fight was really worth it to the team. If you just take a look at those graphs and the fact that, you know, it's really put some momentum behind the Radiant, it was worth it, despite the fact that, you know, I had to spend a lot of time not farming afterwards. So I've got my drums, which I'm happy about. And, you know, I've been not doing as well in the last hit variety. I've been a little too actively roaming the map. So I'm going to probably start trying to get some last hits again soon. Really, you know, go into the woods and do some farming. I use my E spell there when I see that in Vizrune, just because of the move speed increase. And I noticed they're diving our top like crazy. And they have managed to kill 2 of our heroes. So I'm going to run in here. I'm going to stun the Zeus by a tower. I'm going to turn everything on. I'm going to run after the Zeus. I should be using my drums, but I'm not. But it doesn't matter because Enchantress is there with the slow. We do enough damage to bring down the Dragon Knight. And their Foolish Dive may have killed 2 of our heroes, but we just killed 3 of theirs. So, and I don't believe they got the tower. So, yeah, they did not. We're going to run down Shadow Shaman here. I've got stun mana. And I try to cast, but he runs out of line of sight, like, right as I do it. Now I drum, finally. Should have drummed a lot earlier. He's going to throw down the wards, a very smart move. Fortunately, we got enough disables to kind of mess him up. Unfortunately, though, I'm going to take a lot of damage here. I'm going to see if I can't kill... Oh, I just barely can't kill Slardar. So yeah, that was a little too ambitious. If I had... Oh, almost. So close to cleaning up my mess is the Bat Rider. Of course, now he's got to run like hell from Zeus. Run, Bat Rider. Run. Oh my god. I'm so scared for him. Enchantress gets him at the last second and saves him, fortunately. Whew. Close call there. Our tower is low enough that they can deny it right now, which is really nice. Anytime you've got a situation where you can deny a tower, you're costing the opposite team 500 team gold, but also even more potential gold because one of their heroes could last hit that tower. So you're denying them effectively up to 1,000 gold by denying that tower. Huge, huge deal. And another failed boat from Kunkka. Poor Kunkka. But if you look at the gold graph, you know, they could, you know, theoretically, they're 4,000 ahead of us right now. They could be 5,000 if they'd gotten that tower. Particularly if one of them had last hit it. So I notice after that death that I really need to make some money. I need to farm my BKB. Of course, unfortunately, they're pushing mid, so I'm in a position to be able to defend. I really want to get my Ogre Axe first, though, which I grab. I noticed that they've got vision on Jakiro, so I try to stay out of it initially, but it doesn't work out. I mean, everybody's just kind of in it, so I run in. They still are intent to push mid. And let's see if we hold. We're hiding in the trees. I run in, I stun, I get 2 heroes, I turn everything on. Shadow Shaman is dead before, but is able to lay his wards, which is a big problem for us. I'm going to take a lot of damage here on account of those wards and Dragon. Unfortunately, I'm going to go down, but we did get the Shadow Shaman. We also are in a position to be able to farm the wards if someone can get to them. If someone can get to them. If someone can get... Oh, there we go. Excellent. So Enchantress was able to farm at least 1 ward. She pulls the creeps away. I think we might be able to save that tower in this case. I wonder if Enchantress's speed reduction ability actually works on wards. Sadly, I am not looking at that. I am not concerned with that right now because I'm dead. So, since I'm dead, let's take a look at our graphs. EXP earned, you know, again, they're hovering. They've got a little lead here, but it's not too devastating. Gold, they're still way ahead of us, though. We've got to be careful here. We haven't taken down a single tower, which probably explains why that lead is occurring. So, I'm back up, and I want to farm the hell out of bottom right now. I really like the fact that there's a creep wave there. And look at that, my CS is going to go up pretty quick. Love getting siege creeps with the cleave. Sadly, they, in the meantime, brought down our mid tower. But, you know, I just feel like I died too many times. You know, this team fight is not going to go well because I'm not there. I feel bad about that. So I decide to run to our T2 tower just in case they keep pushing. Which would be probably a pretty foolish move on their part, given how low most of them are. So I'm going to run up. Zeus is here, get the stun while the tower's hitting him, always nice. Oh, Shadow Shaman's there too, how foolish. Alright, 1 down, and Bad I think can take care of Shadow Shaman with just an auto attack. Yeah, nice. So, I don't really know why they stuck around there. You know, that's a common mistake that people make. If you take a tower with a push, and you've used your ults, and everything's low, and you've got some of them dead, evaluate whether or not you're going to be able to continue and actually accomplish anything. You know, this is an even more common situation in bases, particularly when people take down racks. So many times I see pub teams take down 2 racks and then just sit there. You know, there's no creep wave at any other tower, so they don't really have anywhere to go. So they just stay in the base and keep doing damage. It's like, if you take down the racks and you have nothing else you can accomplish, if you don't think you can, you know, take down the throne or win the game right there, go home. Just leave. Leave the racks. Go Roche. Go farm. Do anything but sit right there because they will respawn and they will take you out with their defender's advantage. So, you know, be sure that after you've made some gains, after you've made a good push, when you're ahead, do something, as they would say in StarCraft 2, for instance. Do something to get more ahead. Quote Artosis. So Bad is up there killing Puck, which is really, really cool of him. He's doing a very good job of it. I'm going to try to run up towards them. So, you know, I've farmed a little more. You know, Bat's in a favorable situation, and I want to try to help him. I am a little worried, though. Alright, I get my hammer. And, of course, unfortunately, I'm too far away on the map. I can't get up to Bat, even though he's sitting up there being a baller. And taking on like 5 people at once and managing to somehow kill 2 of them. Bat Riders can do that, which is why Bat is one of the first heroes that gets banned in any pro match. That and his laning presence is just too powerful. People who are good with his Q spell can just ruin everybody. So we see Dragon foolishly here. I miss him with stun because I was so surprised by the fact that he was actually there. Kunkka misses with everything, very sad, but we're going to try to head off the dragon. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he is slightly too quick for us. But we were thinking about it. Shadow Shaman's here, runs right into us, throws a good ice path on everything, throws down the wards. Shadow Shaman is going to go down, I get the stun off on Slar. In the macro pyre, if you could stun someone when they're in a macro pyre, it's just the best feeling ever. So Dragon, Zeus both sitting there fighting. I'm low, I'm in some trouble here. We do get drummed, which will help us escape if need be. I'm I'm using every little bit of healing that I've got because I'm worried about a Zeus ult. I can't remember if he actually used it in that fight, but it looks like he didn't. Puck is down in the woods somewhere for some reason by himself. We're just going to chase him off pretty easily. And back to the farm. Back to farming. Now, thus far this game, you know, let's see. I am 6-4-7. Not bad, not great, but I'm not. I feel like I'm not having the effect I want in these team fights. And Puck whiffs completely on his silence and pays for it devastatingly. He probably figured I was low enough that he could take me out. He probably did not realize that even though I have a quarter of my health is around 500 HP, which is quite a bit. So we wreck Puck's day for attempting that foolish kind of botched gank. So back to farming I go, while my team kind of keeps them occupied mid. The other thing we really need to start doing is taking towers. But yeah, I'm getting close to my Black King Gar. I think I just got it, actually, so I just need to pick the recipe up. So the next thing I want to grab are crits, and then my Mask of Madness. Some people like to go Mask of Madness first. You know, it's really up to your personal preference. I just want to do a little bit more damage. I figure with my Black King Bar, you know, they have so many disables that they probably think. And I noticed that players like Shadow Shaman and Dragon have been pretty reckless with their positioning. Dragon can afford to be Shadow Shaman, can't. So I figure the Black King Bar is going to let me get into position well enough. So I just got my Black King Bar. They don't know about it. I'm teleporting in. I immediately turn it on, so when he stuns, it doesn't work. So that's one down. I'm losing health pretty quickly, though, because that dragon is powerful. The Ice Path goes off. But I don't escape, sadly. I was not expecting how much damage Dragon was capable of doing, despite the fact that I had my Black King Bar's avatar turned on. Even so, though, I feel like I prevented them from getting that tower. We killed Slardar, which is a really good thing. You know, Slardar is 8-3-9, which is great, but if you take a look at his CS, he's only 19-3, meaning that he's relying completely on his hero kills for his gold, so his items are not going to be terribly good. That's a really, really important, because Slardar is probably one of the only heroes who can counter Sven late game in this situation. Let's see, Dragon again still farming well. That explains why he's hitting so hard. Let's see what kind of items he's got, actually. Oh wait, first let's watch Captain Fish try to escape. I don't think that Kunkka has hit a single boat. You know, I think that happens. Fortunately, he is going to bring down the Shadow Shaman there. Puck is going to manage to blink away directly into Bat's ult. Bat is, I think, just going to wreck him. Maybe not. Okay, there we go. So he turned on his full damage avoidance ability for about 4 seconds, and it did not manage to kill him. So let's take a look at Dragon's items. Dragon's got an armlet, a soul ring, a helm, and a maelstrom. I don't know if helm and maelstrom are a good idea to get together, because I'm not sure if... Yeah, it does not stack with other unique attack identifiers. Maelstrom is a unique attack identifier modifier that stacks with others, but overrides when chain lightning occurs. Okay, so maybe that's not so bad. So when the chain occurs, he does not actually get lifesteal, but otherwise I think he does get the lifesteal. So maybe that's not the worst item to grab. So in the meantime, I've been farming a little more. I'm working now. Oh, I guess I get my Mask of Madness before I get my crits, so I'll eat my own words. I can't remember this game properly, clearly. Drink some water. So yeah, at this point, grabbing my Mask of Madness, and we are, oh no, I'm sorry, just my Mask of Death to get the lifesteal. I want to farm my Mask of Madness. That Zeus is an illusion, a scout illusion. It's not going to stop Dragon from using all his stuff on it, nor is it going to stop Kunkka from using his abilities, but it is what it is. Now, there will be there's a point when you start getting those items on Sven, like a big turning point, where all of a sudden you're a truck. You're the Sven truck. The Sven truck is one of my favorite things to be in this game. So Kunkka does hit Slardar there pretty well. Managed to get a stun off on him. Now I get surrounded by Shadow Shaman's wards here, but I am still able to hit Slardar because he wanders close enough, and I am desperately trying to click the wards. So 2 heroes down there. 3 heroes down there. 4, nope, not 4. This Puck is running away. And I'm farming those wards. Again, look at how much gold I just got off those wards. Pretty ridiculous. So I now have enough for my Mask of Madness, which makes me really, really happy. Again, I am very fast approaching that critical turning point with the Sven, where if none of the enemy carries are farmed enough, you're just in a position to level an entire team by yourself. Particularly if you lock them down with a good early initiation, any kind of AoE stun. If Jakiro, for instance, gets a good ice path off, I'm gonna be able to go in there, take a few swipes at Shadow Shaman, and like Zeus and Puck will die if they are anywhere near him. That's the glory of late game Sven when you go this build. So I think at this point I am grabbing my mask. I'm telling it to come to me because I wants it. And I think when it comes to the crits, I'm gonna get rid of my magic wand because I'm now relying on lifesteal for HP regen, and I have enough mana that I'm not too concerned anymore. You know, 780 mana on Sven when you know your ult costs 200 and that's the highest amount. Is perfectly fine. You're going to be able to use everything pretty well. Now, I know they've just warded this, but I also know I've just gotten my Mask of Madness and my BKB. So we've got a ward up as well, so I can see them coming if they decide to come. Now, despite the fact that that they can see me, they don't come. They're sure thinking about it, but if they did, I was looking forward to it pretty much killing whoever tried to jump me. And I think I would have been able to, because I could have made myself immune to spells, I could have gone berserk with the Mask of Madness, and I could have turned on my ult. And at that point, you're doing like 900 damage a second in an AoE. It's absurd, and a lot of fun. But sadly, they don't come, they don't jump me. Instead, our Bat Rider, I think, was pushing top by himself while they all were missing, and got himself killed and was very confused by the fact that he got himself killed. So I'm now out CSing the dragon, which makes me happy. Alright, I'm going to turn on all my stuff. I'm going to stun Slardar, sadly not in time to save Jakiro, that was my fault. I'm going to almost kill Shadow Shaman, but my avatar wears off, and instead I'm going to die. You know, overconfidence, big problem there. Again, I just didn't react fast enough to the situation around me. I should have stunned immediately to save Jakiro. I should have, you know, continued moving as I was casting my Mask of Madness. I should target an enemy first and then do it. Instead, there was a moment where I kind of ran around in a circle, which, you know, cost that extra swipe, perhaps, that would have killed Shadow Shaman.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Now, Enchantress is one of the better heroes at defending. You know, she's a little low on mana, but she's so survivable with her heal skill. And, you know, sadly, she hasn't actually skilled her Q, which is weird. That explains perhaps why... How many times has she died? Well, she's died 6 times. So, take a note, if you're Enchantress, don't get stats over the Q spell. There's just no reason to. Like, you'll die more, and you will lose gold, and it will be bad. And experience. So... I pointed out that Dragon was here even though I was dead. I remember doing this specifically. And Kunkka does hit with his boat there. Ice Path goes off. Oh my god, so much damage on Dragon. And they gank the enemy carry while he's trying to farm our Ancients. And then they still get 1 Ancient off of it. That's so great. I love it when your team does good things. It makes me so happy. So at this point, I see that most of our team is mid, pressuring that tower. I figure I'm not going to get there really that fast, and I've almost got my Chrysalis, which is going to make my utility in team fights so much greater. So I'm just going to farm. Again, I've been dying more than I'd like. 6 deaths, you know, I wish I'd died a few fewer times. But once I get that crit, even before I get the Daedalus, just having the Chrysalis is going to make me a monster. So, team's fighting in mid, and I'm just sort of farming and pushing bot. At this point, I'm teleporting mid, I think, because I was worried that people would be getting chased, which they weren't. And there we go. I buy the Chrysalis, and I tell the courier to come to me quickly.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Alright, now I've got my Chrysalis. So now I'm in a position to start being the Sven truck. They're gonna back off a bit, I think. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, it looks like the enemy team is backed off. I'm gonna just farm the Ancients a little bit, and maybe bait myself again. Because once you're the Sven truck, you can afford to do stuff like this. I also want to point out that I'm level 21, which is far and away the highest level. And that's a really good position to be in as a melee carry. If you are a melee carry and you are the highest level, chances are your team is winning, or going to win. So let's take a look at some graphs. Again, they're ahead of us right now, 5,000 gold and around 4,000 experience. I don't like that. But again, turning point here. I've got crit, I've got Black King Bar, I've got Mask of Madness. So I figure we've got top tower, we've got mid T1. Let's take their bot T1. And in the process, maybe we can force a team fight where I can use my abilities. I can use my newfound power as the Sven truck. Kunkka and I are able to level waves so quickly without having to do much work. So we're gonna push this tower. They're all dwelling by Roche. I think we can kind of see them. Alright, I turn the ult on to go for the tower. I turn my avatar on. Perfect stun. Oh my goodness. I don't think Shadow Shaman even stood next to me. I think standing next to me killed Shadow Shaman. So there go 3 enemy heroes. Again, that turning point. You saw how fast they went down when I turned all my stuff on. It was just absurd. 4th hero dead. Slardar, I think Bad got him, and then it was just... Ugh. We run right through 2 towers. Our team fight right now is probably at its peak point this game, meaning like if we go farther, Dragon and Slardar would just get more powerful. But right now, I think is really our best moment to do stuff. So I run to grab a Demon Edge. I figure I can do that because there's only 1 enemy hero up, but I'm already back in the fray because I have a decent move speed. I managed to kill a tower, which... oh no, Bat Rider got the tower. But yeah, we take down the bottom barracks, and at this point it's like, let's leave. Remember earlier I was talking about the fact that if you don't have anything else to do, don't just sit there and wait for them to respawn and come kill you. Because again, you know, they still have 2 T2 towers up in mid and top. So we decide it's time to go Roche. Let's just go Roche. I can do a lot of damage fast. I'm critting for 999 now. Pretty powerful. I don't have room to carry the Aegis, so I tell Bat Rider to grab it. Because he does have room. It probably would have been better on me overall, but I just didn't feel like it. At this point, I feel like we got a pretty good handle on this game. So after all of that, after what just happened, remember, before we pushed that tower, we were down by about 4,000 experience. We're now up by about 4,000 experience. And we were down by about 5,000 gold earned, and we are now up by about 2,000. So, turning points. Remember your turning points. With Sven, it's when you get your crit, your Black King Bar, and your Mask of Madness, regardless of what order you do it. That's a turning point in the game. Oh, poor Shadow Shaman. Puck goes in and like initiates when he has no business initiating. He's just trying to be fancy. I killed Zeus and someone else. I don't even think I was paying attention to whoever else I killed. It might have been Puck. And now we're gonna take the mid T2. Down it goes. And I think you get the sense that, like, despite the fact that statistically we were losing this game because of that team fight bottom and just the massive damage I'm able to do quickly and all our great disables when we're all sitting together as a team, we've kind of got this game in the bag at this point. Run away, Dragon Knight! Use your avatar! No, I'm just gonna kill the Rex. Always do that. If someone's, you know, spell immune or something like that in their base and you're not gonna catch them, just turn and kill the Rex. I don't know why our courier's in there, by the way. Whoever did that. Shame on you. Yeah, I think we're just gonna go ahead and Rax at this point. Shadow Shaman, you're just being too tempting a target for me. There's too many things between me and the Dragon Knight. Got him. It's always funny when Slardar turns on his speed boost ability, his haste, and Enchantress hits him with, is it Impetus, her ult? I think Impetus. And then he just keeps running and it just does more and more damage because he runs farther and farther away. At this point, you know, the rest of my team is fighting near the fountain, but I'm like, whatevs, let's just go ahead and end the game. The Sven truck doesn't need to assert his masculinity. He is secure in his masculinity. There goes the boat. Bye-bye, boat. Slam. And good game all around. So let's take a look at some of these stats. So I ended up level 24. Again, melee carry who is 4 levels higher than anyone else. Good situation. Your team probably is going to win when that happens. I don't have that many last hits, sadly. You know, and that was probably because I kept running around dying. You know, stupid move. If I kept farming and just gotten to that turning point a little faster, we would have won this game even more handily, I think. That said, you know, 730 XP a minute is pretty damn good. I'm very, very happy with that. I just wish my gold per minute had been a little bit higher, but it was certainly high enough. I mean, I can't complain too much. Things their team could have done better, if their Slardar had farmed in the least, he would have been really powerful, but he did not focus on farming at all. He was just trying to kill heroes. It's a fun way to play Dota, but not the best way to play Dota.